Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in for this video. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a Montana-based video production company owner, and I also work in the film industry on TV shows, movies, in the camera department in various roles. For this video, we're going to be going over my ultimate perfect Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K rig. This is my A camera for almost every commercial shoot I do for my video production company, and this is how I rig it out for everything I do. It's a little bit different than a lot of the other rigs I've seen on there, and it took me months to figure out how I was going to build this, and a lot of trial and error until I got it to where it is today, to where I'm really happy with how it works out. Throughout the video, you'll kind of see how it's different and how I've set it up so that you can kind of quickly go from tripod to a lighter handheld rig to the big handheld rig to gimbal without having to take everything apart and pull out your screwdriver or your Allen keys. All of the parts in this video that make up this rig will be included in the description below. So if you want to get any of these parts after watching the video, or if you want to copy the rig exactly, you can just go and find those links in the description below. Please like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. It would really help me out, and it'll inspire me to keep doing these kind of videos. If you don't like them, then trash talk me in the comments. All right, let's get started. All right, so first thing is I use this 510 case. Pelican 510 case. What's great about it is the size is pretty small. You can put it in a car. It's really sturdy and everything. Waterproof. It's not big enough to hold everything. It won't hold the Mapbox, it won't hold your follow focus, it won't hold your monitor, but it'll hold the base rig. So first things first, you have the camera itself. I use the Tilt-A-Cage. It's really awesome. I honestly picked it up because I like the look of it, and I just wanted to try something else besides small rig, which is what I typically use. Although small rig is still really great, and they have a great price. So first thing you're going to do is attach this SSD holder. They have a specific spot for it. It's also the Samsung T5 SSD holder. After that, you're going to attach this Manfrotto base plate to the bottom. I use the one off the Zion Crane 2 so that I can use the same plate when I mount it to the Zion Crane 2 to use on that gimbal. And I use this because it has all the markings on the side, so I can really quickly find exactly where I mount it for balance point based off the lenses and everything that I'm using. So moving on, the next piece you're going to need is the top handle. I use the tilt-to-top handle that came with this cage. I use this small rig rotating and tilting monitor mount. This is what we'll use to mount the monitor later on, and there's a perfect spot for it on the handle right here, so we'll do that, tighten it down. Okay, so now on to the next major component, which is the kind of the rod block mounting point for just about everything. So it's a Camvate 502 plate clamp, essentially, a small rig 15mm rod holder, and then on the bottom there I have the 502 plate attached to the bottom, so that way I can attach this rig quickly and easily to tripods, sliders, whatever I need. And then I use two 12-inch rods, but I would go 16, so you're gonna appreciate having the extra length. So then we're gonna go ahead and attach the camera to the Camvate plate. So the next piece that I use is the 8-sins V-mount plate. So the reason I chose this one is it uses 4 screws to attach the 15mm rod holder to the actual V-mount, and you can change it and screw it back down so that it will mount either this way or this way.
depending on the job, depending on if you want to use the rear monitor or not to be able to see it. But it's rigid that way. It's actually screwed in. It's not on a friction arm that could loosen itself over time. And I've used it in both ways, and it's really great. For this rig, and the way that I like it the best, I mount it in the upright position like this. So then we're gonna go ahead and grab batteries. I use the Indy Pro 98 V-mount batteries, the micro series. Now, we'll probably counterbalance this a little bit before we go on. So the main lens I use, and it's my favorite lens, and of course, just jumping on the bandwagon here, it's everybody's favorite lens, it seems like, for this camera, is the Sigma 18-35 Art Series lens. So we're gonna go ahead and attach that to the rig. Moving on, we'll start attaching some of the cables. I use this deep tap splitter to 4 D-taps. It's just kind of nice because the 8-sins only has 1, and I don't like to attach to the battery because you're gonna be changing batteries. So rather than just having this kind of hang around or bongo tying it to something, I put a strip of Velcro tape on the back of this with the soft side on the back of the 8-sins plate. So then all I have to do is run this over and Velcro it to the back there. So now all my cables go to the same place and they're secured in the back. So the next cable we're going to use is the power cable. I just use the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K or 4K B-tap power. Something I'd like to note about the rig and why this is great to do it this way with a V-mount opposed to some other things is if you run that cable to a V-mount battery and you keep a Canon battery inside of the camera, you can hot swap. So what that means is when you need to exchange the V-mount battery, you don't have to shut off the camera to change the battery. You can keep the camera on, take the battery off, and the camera will automatically switch to the Canon battery that's inside the body, and then you can put the V-mount on. Okay, moving on. So let's go ahead and hook up the SSD. What's cool is this kit came with both an HDMI and an SSD port with the tilted cage. So and what's nice about it is just the small rig does this too, but they attach to the side of the cage, so they effectively lock themselves in. So I'm gonna go ahead and take our included with the tilted cage USB-C to USB-C cable. Now you're probably wondering, well, okay, he's blocking the monitor. How are you going to be able to use it? So moving on to the kind of the back end portion of this rig is the next part that's really important, and that's the Portkeys Bm5 with the wireless module Bluetooth module that connects it to this camera. And what's nice about this rig or this monitor is that it connects to the camera and allows you to control everything: your shutter, your ISO, your aperture, white balance, record settings. You can control everything by touching this monitor. So effectively, you don't even need to use the monitor in the back of this anymore. Now, the next part of this rig is the focus. Now, you don't need a follow focus system. I opted to go for the Nucleus Nano, and that's what I use. You're gonna need to get a 8-inch rod. So I used another small rig rod, and you're gonna need to attach the single rod clamp to the tilted cage. Now they include these on the site. I use the lower one, so this is the one that I use. And this rod is for attaching the focus motor to the cage. And the reason I did this, the reason this is set up the whole way it is you can kind of quickly switch from like this big rig to a smaller handheld rig to gimbal very easily. and you don't lose your wireless follow focus. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen this from other videos and that sort of a thing. And I've seen in other videos that a lot of people will mount the wheel just to the side somewhere or forward. Now, this is what I originally did, and it worked, but it wasn't great because you're effectively losing a hand. You can kind of like put 2 fingers on it or just your thumb and pull that way, but you're losing a hand when you're trying to hold this and control it. And ultimately, it wasn't going to work for me. We're going to go through the next step process, and I'll show you what I did instead. Next, you're going to need this shoulder rig to 50mm rosette. So typically you'd have 2 hand grips attached to this, but this, so that I can use this grip here. Now this is the Tilta focus grip for the Nucleus Nano that has the rosette attachment. And this is how I decided to hook it all up for pulling focus. And the reason I really like it the way it's set up like this is that with the handled focus, the Tilta, you have 2 points of contact that are grips, and I can pull focus with my finger. So now I always have 2 points of contact. And the third is pushing the battery against my chest. Now that takes the same LPE6 batteries that the Blackmagic uses. So in that way, if I ever needed batteries to use in the Blackmagic, they're the same batteries that this uses, so they're kind of interchangeable. The last component of this rig, which is my final component, is the Foca DP 500 Mapbox. And this Mapbox has, side flags, top flags, and it's swing away, which is really nice, so that anytime you would need to access the lens, clean the lens, maybe attach a screw-on filter if you still wanted to use those instead of 4x4s, because they are a lot cheaper, you can. Just gonna mount them. Something to note about this rig, or about this Mapbox, and another reason why I got it, is it does have adjustments to rise or lower the Mapbox. Unfortunately, the way I have mine set up, it's too tall. The camera lens is too tall for it to actually rise high enough. So you would need to get a riser. They do make them, and it wouldn't be an issue if you wanted to run this. I would actually recommend getting a clamp-on Mapbox if you really wanted to do this properly. And there we go. So that is the finished rig, which is really nice. It just makes it a whole lot easier to operate and gets you steadier handheld shots. Now, the reason for my whole way of mounting it to the rail block is so that in the case that I wanted to attach this to a gimbal, it's pretty simple, and I'll show you now. Effectively, your camera is free from the actual base rig. So this component here is now perfect to mount onto your Zion Crane 2, your DJI gimbal, whatever it is that you have. And it's using the Manfrotto plate that a lot of those use that's already balanced right. So I just put it right onto that and balance it really quick, and I'm good to go.
my focus motor is still attached, and I can just run this cable to the crane too, or whatever else's power source, and restart that up as well. And then if we want to go on tripod, we have the bottom Manfrotto plate. So all we have to do is slide it onto a tripod just as like this. And then if we want to go handheld again, you slide it off, use it like that. You want to go gimbal, you slide the camera out. So it just makes everything way quicker, more versatile, so that you have more options. This is why it's the perfect rig for me. And like I said, down at the bottom is going to be links to everything that I used to create this rig the way I did, so that you can create it the same way too. So I'm just starting out, guys. So again, if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.